वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। समस्त जन कल्याणी निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्म विद्वरम्। ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरुवे नमः। Hari Om. We are in the ultimate 5 mantras of Kathopnishad. And last time we saw something very important or very critical as far as Atma Darshanam is concerned. We spoke of two things last time. One as Sa-Upadhika or Sopadhika Brahman and Nirupadhika Brahman. The Atma Chaitanya, as Gurudeva says, can be realized either as a condition in its manifestations or in itself. One way of realizing Atma Tattvam is realizing it in the conditioned manifestation. Most of the Divya Darshanam that we see, that I saw Rama, Divya Darshan of Rama, Divya Darshan of any Ishvara for that matter, any Devata for that matter, all these darshanas, or the Sakshat Darshanam as they call it, or Shiva Darshanam, all these are nothing else but the conditioned manifestation of the same Atma Chaitanya or the consciousness. But when the same is realized without any attributes, Nirguna Nirakara, which is described in Ishopanishad as Shuddham, Shukram, Avranam, Asnavaram, that Atma Tattvam, when it is realized, then it is called as Nirupadhika Brahma. How this is realized was told last time in the most important mantra, the 13th mantra, which said, Asti iti upalabdhavyaha tattva bhavena asti iti upalabdhavyaha. Asti iti upalabdhavya means first thing is to realize that there is something called Atma. Now, asti, that means it is. That is the way of understanding the Atman in the first place. Because if we look at it in a little kaleidoscopic way, as ahankara starts dissolving step by step, there would be a step when there is a last trace of ahankara remaining, and the moment that particular flame of ahankara is going to be extinguished, that moment itself the Atma Darshanam is going to happen. So that means there will be definitely maybe a microscopic movement, but a movement where Dvaita Bhava, that this is Atman, it's still lingering in the mind which itself is in the process of dissolution, and it dissolves and the Atma Tattvam appears. One disappears, one appears. And that particular phenomena is called Asti. It is. First thing is we realize that Atma Tattvam is. There is no void like the Shunyavadin of Buddhism. There is no void here. There is a positive Satchit Ananda Swarupa. Atma Tattvam is realized. So Asti iti upalabdhavya. That is what the first upalabdhi is. Then that which is existing is nothing else but me. That is Tattva Bhavena. Tattvam. That is me. That is Tattva Bhavena. So in two stages it happens. Asti iti upalabdhavya, Tattva Bhavena. Now, does it happen that something happens on Sunday and something happens on Monday? No. It is ekasamaya vachchade. In other words, you can be in one state. You can be in the state of Dvaita. That means you are not Atma Tattvam, but you may be a pure soul. But the moment you become Atma Tattvam, at that time, you cannot be a conditioned soul. That means your upadhi is lost. So, in other words, you directly become Nirupadhika Brahma. Brahmaiva Brahma Vidvaram Bhavati. That means one who realizes Brahma realizes by becoming Brahma. So it is not a realization by somebody of somebody. It is by becoming somebody. That is why it is called jnatavyata, not praptavyata. So asti iti uplabdhavyaha tattva bhavena, two things are there. Ubhayoho, in that too, asti iti eva upalabdhasya tattva bhavaha prasidati. The second line of mantra reassures us that there is no gap between realizing Atma Tattvam and becoming Atma Tattvam. What it says is, asti iti eva upalabdhasya, moment you realize that Atma Tattvam is, that is the time when you become Atma Tattvam. Tattva bhava prasidati. Prasidati is to become manifest. That means the Atma Tattvam manifests in you, or you become Atma Tattvam, the Parabrahman. This is what we saw last time. Now the question comes that if that is what is my ultimate aim, the aim of my human life is to realize Atma Tattvam, then what is that I should be doing? There are a lot of sadhana chatushta that have been described. But what is the ultimate aim of that? Even if I do my sadhana, I do my purity of heart, I do my meditation, I go to my master, what is that I ultimately achieve? What can be termed as one word that will cut asunder the relationship between Dvaita and Advaita, the relationship between the manifested world and the Atma Tattvam? And that is where the 14th mantra comes forward. The mantra states, Yada sarve pramuchante kama yah asya rudishrita. Yada, when sarve means all, not all people. Sarve kama, anvaya of sarve is with kamaha. Yada sarve kamaha pramuchante. When all the desires, kama, are lost, pramuchante, prakarshena muchante. Mucha is to release itself. Mucha, moksha dhatu, moksha word has come from the mucha dhatu. Mucha means relieve me, release me. Ha ha, mucha, that is how we see in Sanskrit dramas. Mucha means release me, relieve me. Take me out of the bounds, take me out of the bandhana. So prakarshena muchate. Prakarshena muchate means once for all, one who has relinquished the kama, the desire. And where is that kama? Ya asya hridishrita. This is a very important statement, that desire is the ultimate culmination of sadhana. Sadhana of any kind, whether sadhana chatushta or otherwise, is done only for the purpose of completely removing the desires from the mind. A desireless mind. Trishna virahita chitta. Buddhism stresses on this because Trishna is a word of Buddhism. Trishna is continuous flow of desire, continuous hunger for desire. So that desire, where does it sit? Where is the seat of desire? Ya asya rudishrita. Rudi means in the Hrudaya Guha. And we saw earlier also in Kathopnishad, Hrudaya Guha, whenever the word comes, it means it is inside the buddhi Guha. So the first line of the mantra says, if yada sarve kamaha pramuchante asya rudishrita, if all the desires, sarve, not sarva, sarve, not one, sarve kamaha pramuchante rudishritaha, all the desires sitting in the buddhi tattvam, not indriya, buddhi tattvam, rudishrita, then what happens? Atha, then martyo amruto bhavanti, the mortal becomes immortal. And another important word in the second half of second line is atra brahma samashnote. Atra means right here. Here, right here. Why that word atra has come? That means this is a very important aspect of a dilemma that normally everyone faces. And there are two thoughts also. Gurudeva has hinted at it. Whether we become liberated after the dropping of this body, or whether we can become liberated when the body is there or when we are alive. So one is called a videha, one is called videha mukti, that means vigata dehaha. When the body dries off, when you die, then you are muchante forever. That is one way of looking at it. And another way is Jivana Mukta. That means he is alive and yet he is Mumukshatva Prapta. And the live example of that is our own Gurudev. He was a Jivana Mukta. Now, Jivan Mukta, can somebody become Jivan Mukta, or somebody has to necessarily drop the body, is a controversy or a vivada that is seen in philosophy. Some of them do believe that no, you have to drop the body, then only you become or you attain the moksha. But to clarify that, Shruti here says, Atra Brahma Samashnute. Ashnute means to attain. That Brahman is attained here. And this is very important because Shankaracharya, in his commentary, has elaborated this word Atra 3 times. Here and here, not anywhere but here. That is how he has emphasized upon it. What it means is one can become Mukta or Atma Tattva can be realized right here in the living body, which is a very bold statement. So in this mantra, important things are, one is all the sadhanas that we do are ultimately aiming at removing kama. Kama vivarjitaha is the ultimate state that one intends to attain, because kama vivarjita presupposes dissolution of ego. Because who will not have desire? One who doesn't have ego. That means Kama Vivarjitata is directly related to the ahankara. Higher the ego, higher will be the desires. Lower the desires, lower will be the ego. And that being the reason, all the sadhana is focusing on Kama. Now this Kama is something which we need to understand very clearly. Kama is desire that we know. And Kama expresses itself as desire or Ichcha. Is there anything that we have in our life other than a statement called I want to have? I want to have seems to be the mantra of our life. Just imagine, we don't want to say I don't want to have anything. Is there any reason for you to be kicking and alive in this world to the extent what we are doing? Right now, the very fact that we have been quarantined or asked to sit at one place, which according to our Dharma is a wonderful opportunity to have, but none of us are happy about it simply because we are not getting opportunity to express the desires. बाहर जाना है, सबको मिलना है, रेस्टोरेंट में खाना है. So Panchendriya have to be satiated by different kind of things. Movie जाना है, आंखों का सिक्की, eyes have to be satiated. कुछ सुनना है, किसी से बात करनी है, the ears have to intend to listen, that there is a desire expressed through ears, through tongue, अच्छी अच्छी चीजें खानी है. So that means the desires always keeps us tossing. So tossing of mind is nothing else but the desires that are propelling us to do. Now let us understand this desire, what it does. Every karma that we do has a desire behind it. Because moment we don't have a desire behind a karma, then it becomes a Ishwara Kruta Karya. What is the desire of the tree when it gives shade? No desire. Then what happens? We feel very good under the tree. Similarly, a person of Gurudeva's stature, without any desire in mind, when he thought of distributing the knowledge of Atma Tattvam, it was a pleasure not only for him, but for those who wanted to attain to him. Because there is no desire. So desire prompts action. So when the action is there but desire is absent, it is called Leela. Ishwara Leela is without any desire. It is only action. So that means every desire has to convert into action. And the question again is, from where the desire comes? And the seed of the desire or vasana is lying in Karana Sharira. We all know there are Pancha Sharira Kosha. We know that Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. These are Pancha Koshas. In terms of three Deha, if we see, Sthula Deha is Annamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha, they form the Sukshma Sharira. And the Anandamaya Kosha forms the Karana Sharira. The very reason why it is called as a Karana Sharira, because that is where the cause of our Sharira lies, and in that Karana Sharira lies Avidya. This Avidya, that I am not a Brahma Tattva, but I am so and so. Deha Tadatmya Buddhi. Avidya is the seed that is lying in the Karana Sharira, which is the seed which sprouts through the Buddhi Tattva as nothing else but desire. Now the question here is, Gurudev has given some beautiful comments and we are going to come to that. In fact, it is a wonderful way Gurudev has expressed what Acharya has elaborated. So now we know one thing, that it is the desire that is creating the issue. Now the question is, desire propels the action and action strengthens the desire. It is a mutual vicious relationship. More you act upon the desire, desire becomes stronger. And then stronger desire leads to stronger action. Tulsidas Maharaj had a desire to see his wife because he was young. It was in the night. It was raining very badly. His wife was staying at a couple of miles distance, but he wanted desire to meet her under any circumstances and in the night only. Then what happened? All the karma that he did, he walked over a crocodile, he caught hold of a snake and whatnot, he did, all that was fulfilled because stronger the desire, stronger the action. The question is, then when and how the desire becomes stronger? Desire is not something that came to us in this birth. It is not that in this birth only I started looking towards a beautiful girl and having ideas in my mind. I have been doing it earlier. Tukaram Maharaj says, Khadi lete khave se vate. What you have eaten, you will feel like eating again. You see, individual preferences of food. From where it comes, we always say, Bachpan se mujhe tikha acha nahi lagta hai. What happened in the childhood? Nothing happened. Your brother is eating it. It is simply because you ate that previously, in the previous birth. As Sufi says beautifully, Prita Purani Karanere Chuga Chuga Kankara Khai. Ho to house, Raja house hai, but he is eating pebbles. Why? Because Prita Purani Karane, you have been used to that. So once, somewhere in the earlier births, desires came. Some of the desires I opted and acted upon it. Then I kept on acting upon it. And then we use the word something like he is a womanizer. What is a womanizer? The desire has become vasana, has become very strong propelling force. And it is a prominent force inside the buddhi tattva, which propels buddhi and then ultimately to the karmendriyas to act upon it. And that is why that is most difficult to remove. So the vasana, the seed of the vasana is in karana sharira. Now, because of the latent force of many births, latent impressions of many births, the vasana has solidified. This vasana gives a chapalata to the mind, the tossing of mind. And that is why this chapalata of mind, the rajoguna, always in majority of the world is in rajoguna. That is one of the guna which is making it difficult for us to stay back home. The rajoguna is always saying when the quarantine is going to end. And look at the irony of the things. When we are in the office, that time we wanted to come home. Now we are in the home, we wanted to go to the office. And this will always happen. Why? Rajoguna. Rajata will not let us sit quietly, because sitting quietly at peace is a sattva guna. And that is why majority of the world being rajoguna badhita, there is always a chapalata or chanchalya in the mind. So that means the kama makes the mind chanchal or chapala. Now this could be jiva chapalata, that means the tongue asking for some kind of a variation of food and the taste. Now by jiva, by upalakshana, all the indriyas, and there could be upastha chapalata. Upastha chapalata means sex organs tossing in the mind. So that is why, in fact, in psychology, there is a study that on an average, a man thinks about the sex 5 to 6 times minimum in the day. This is an observation by the psychology journal. The point important here is, time and again, because of the past impression, the mind tends to co-opt the things which we have done earlier, and that is why the whole focus is on removing the karma. Now the question here is, if the karma is removed, then which karma is to be removed? Because karma has different gradation. One karma that talks about all ill things or adharma are to be completely shunned. There is no doubt about it. For that matter, you feel like doing some corruption or stealing somebody's money, that is something which is definitely not expected at all. So those karmas are to be removed completely in toto. There is no doubt about it. The question here is, what about the desire to have Atma Tattvam? Right now, are we not studying that I want to achieve Atma Tattvam? Is it not a desire? It is. I want to meet you, Krishna. Is it not that we say in the prayer? Is it not we say to Gurudeva, once at least I want to be close to you at your feet? Is it not that when Radha went towards Krishna, did she went without any desire? She had a desire to meet the Lord. So what about those desires? Now those desires are the desires wherein the Atma Tattvam or the Ishvara himself is approving of such desires. Although those desires also to be sublimated at the later stage. But in the progress of the things, initially all sattva gunatmaka ichha or desires have to be inculcated in our body. Now, when those are to be inculcated, that is the reason why in the Jnana Vijnana Yoga Saptama Adhyaya of Gita, Bhagavanta says, Balam Balavatam cha aham kama raga vivarjitam. And then in the second line it says, Dharma virodhu bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. If the kam is not against the dharma, then hey Bharata, I am there in that kama. What he means to say that all desires are not bad, but what is to be achieved is desireless state. So procedure is to shun all the adharmic desires, then from there come to dharmic desires, and then remove the dharmic desires from the mind. Why? Because dharmic desires also gives us the phalam. Because desire is there, there is a karma. Karma means phalam. If I keep propitiating Saguna Swarupa, saying that Vishnu, Bhagavan, Narayana, I want to have your darshana, phalam will be there, you will get a darshana. So it is all over. The question here is, what is required here is to go beyond the desires, transcending the desires. So for transcending the desires, it is like this. When there is a destination that we intend to reach, we take a stop at a particular place while traveling. Now, does that mean that you have stopped? No, you have not stopped. You have stopped for taking rest so that you can again journey further. Similarly, the ichha that we have for the Atma Tattva Darshanam can be nurtured so that ultimately I become ichha-less. Now the question is, ichha is a normal desire. When the ichha is there for a long time, you are hoping for a long time. So one day will come and I shall be the ruler of the world. This is called asha. Asha means this is in future. Asha is future. Hope so. Every time we say hope so means I hope it will happen. Now this is little less stronger in the mind, but the inclination is there. Ashanam kachit asyade sunkala baddhaya pradhavanti mukta tishtati panguvat, as it is the Subhashita says. The moment the shackle of asha comes into your legs, this is a very strange shackle. Moment it comes into the legs, you start running, and the one who doesn't have the shackle, then it has nothing to do. So ichha becomes asha, and then when we expect that my asha will become a phaladrupa, then it becomes akanksha. When akanksha is very strong, so strong that you covet that. The English word is coveting something. Coveting means, come what may, my son has to pass with the best possible marks. And you start beating him, you start making him sit for 12 hours, you crush whatever he intends to do. You just say, I want you to, that is called spruha. And spruha means, it literally makes you a slave of your desire. That is spruha. After the spruha, when you cannot complete it, someone else you intend to complete, then it becomes apeksha. In apeksha, you expect other person or other object to do something for you. मेरी आपसे अपेक्षा थी कि आप मेरा काम करेंगे. That means I had the desire, but I wanted it to be fulfilled by someone else. And then, at the last end spectrum of the ichha is, or desire is, yachana. Nothing is happening. You know you are incapable of getting the desire done or fulfilled. Then you beg for it. It is called yachana. So that is how the spectrum of ichha, asha, akanksha, spruha, apeksha, and yachana happens. If this is the case, now the question comes that those who remove this kind of ichha, apeksha, akanksha from there, what do they do? Moment the काम or ichha is extinguished, vishaya vritti pravaha is stopped. What is vishaya vritti pravaha? Ichha first flows through the mind towards the object. Dhyayate vishayan pumsa is nothing else but vishaya vritti pravaha. So there is a vishaya somewhere, the object is there, and then the buddhi lets it travel through the medium of indriyas towards the object, vishaya vritti pravaha. Then which object, where it will flow? You cannot say. It can flow to any object. Any object can be an object of interest to you. What can be an object of disinterest for me could be an object or disgust for me can be an object of interest for anybody. How often these things will come? Thousands of times. हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमा फिर भी कम निकले. That is what Sufi says, Ghalib says. So desires keep flowing. Now question here is, Jiva Shrushti is full of desires. Ishwara Shrushti is desireless. That is why everything in Ishwara Shrushti gives us pleasure. Is it not that a cold breeze gives us comfort? There is no desire in that. One who is blowing the breeze has no desire. So it gives me so much of comfort. In Jiva Shrushti, somebody sitting next to me creates disgust in my mind. That is what Jiva Shrushti is all about. Even the good morning that we receive from somebody is tainted with some kind of expectation that means desire. What is in it for me? Or there are no free lunches. These are all management jargons. Management, in fact, is the classical science which has been raised to high pedestal by us. But it is nothing else but a science of desires. What is management? Everything in management deals around the desires. So that means marketing, making people force. One smart lady comes and shows us some product and we feel like buying it. One hero sits on the motorcycle and I feel I am like a hero when I sit on the motorcycle. This is all nothing else but a continuous provocation of desires in the mind. As it is, we have enough. Plus, the world is giving enough back to us and we call it as a part of our life. Kya karenge? We are in this world, we can't help it. Now the question is, vasanas or desires, how can we extinguish it? That is the most important aspect. Entire sadhana is dedicated to it. Now we all know that shamadama is the sadhana for the desires. That is why it starts from shamadama and then goes towards titiksha, samadhana. They are all later on. First thing that we know is nitya anitya vastu, viveka has to be first there. Unless I know that there is something called Kathopnishad, something called Atma Tattva, something called Brahma Tattva, why would I ever think of relieving myself from the TV, from the restaurant, from all my desires? In fact, desires are considered to be consumption in economy, considered to be good for economy. Now everybody is worried about what will happen to the economy because there are no takers. takers means there are no people who may have desire but may not have Lakshmi with them to fulfill it. Now the question here is, when we intend to extinguish the desires, the sadhana is entirely dedicated to it. In the Shama, what we do is, and in Dhamma, the difference is, in the Dhamma, we are always interested in curbing the Bahya Vritti. Bahya Vritti means Indriya onwards. The origination we already saw, it is in the Buddhi Tattva. It is Vidhishrita. Buddhi means Buddhi Tattva. So desires are in Buddhi. So every time I have to act in the Buddhi that, oh, this is not good for me, it doesn't happen. Because the force of Vasana is very strong. For example, there is a lady alone somewhere. The force of Vasana may tell us to do something. However, because of morality and ethics, we don't do it. In fact, most of us can be described in one word as Ekapatni Vrata because of lack of opportunity. This is a very harsh statement, but one needs to ponder upon it. Given a choice, what I would do, if we really honestly think to ourselves, we will realize how the vasanas are working in the mind. The ethics, the morality, the societal rules prohibit us from doing certain things. But that is called Bahya Vritti Niyantrana or Indriya Sanyatata. So we have to, that is also a part of Dhamma. So in Dhamma, what we do is, first we reduce the quantity, then we reduce the quality, and then we go towards the Antarvritti Niyantrana. Antarvritti Niyantrana is Niyantrana from the Buddhi, and that is called as Dhamma. So Shama and Dhamma, these are two important things. We basically, because every time you achieve a Dhamma and Shama, there will be increase in the willpower. Why? Because now the power has not vested into that object. Everywhere, whenever, one single incident, if we avoid temptation of doing something, that much amount of willpower increases in the mind. That is why initially there is some amount of compulsory things that we need to do. Shivananda Maharaj says, you like very sweet very much, leave it for a week or a month. You like tasty things, a particular object, one vyanjan, one padarth that you like very much, leave it, give it up for 6 months. What happens because of that? One is you get habituated to how to avoid the things, one, and two, it increases the willpower. So that is why most of the Sadgurus are powerhouse of willpower, because they are nirich. They are not interested in kar bhala to ho bhala, akhir darvesh ki sada kya hai. They are not interested in anything else other than being a part of the Ishvara Srushti. And that is why the Vasana Kshaya, when it happens, then the question comes, the second line of the mantra, Atha Marto Amruto Bhavanti. Then the mortal becomes immortal. Question is, mortal becomes immortal when? In this birth itself, when he is alive, or after the death? Which is a very important discussion in Vedanta. There are two sides to it. Gurudeva has also mentioned about those two sides. Now, what he says, let us see what Gurudeva says on this mantra. He says that the state of desirelessness is the state of Kaivalya. In very simple words, Gurudeva says Kaivalya or moksha is nothing else but state of desirelessness. One word definition of pramuchante or moksha. Then he says, we have discussed in Kathopnishad that there is a school of thinkers who believe that the final state of realization can come only in the very last moments of life, and that after realization the body falls off. This school believes only what is technically termed as vidhya mukti, liberation after death. That means there are two schools of thought. One school of thought says that mukti comes after the death, vidhya mukti, vigata deha. Another says, no, right here, in this body, it comes. Now, Shankaracharya supports the theory of Jivan Mukta. In fact, one of the most enlightened sages of 12th century, Vidyaranya Swami, has written a treatise worth reading. It is called Jivan Mukti Viveka. All the aspects of Jivan Mukti are discussed there in philosophical and technical terms also. Enough amount of Purva Paksha, Uttar Paksha has been done there in order to emphasize upon us that Jivan Mukti is possible in this birth only. Right when you are alive, you can be Jivan Mukta. Now, for that, they say that there are three things required to become Jivan Mukta. One is Vasana Kshaya, which we saw just now, desirelessness or obliteration of all latent vasanas. Second is dissolution of mind, Manolaya. And third is knowledge of reality, Atma Jnana. These three things happen. When these three things happen, mumukshata is achieved. If we look at this particular scripture which Vidyananda Swami has written, he has written that Atma Jnana, Manolaya and Vasanakshaya, three together account for mumukshatva. And that is why amongst the sannyasis, there are two types of sannyasas possible. One is Vidvat sannyasa, another is Vividisha sannyasa. Now, Vidvat sannyasa is one who has knowledge of Atma Jnana. He has done Shravana, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and that is because of Purva Punya, it has happened to him. Now, all that he is required to do is just the Manolaya and Vasanakshaya. Manolaya and Vasanakshaya, they go in tandem, they go in tango. Manolaya happens and Vasanakshaya happens, and Vasanakshaya happens and Mano. So reduce the number of vasanas, the mind becomes more less and less active, Manolaya. Reduce the activity of the mind, the vasanas become less. So in Ekagrata, what we are trying to do, the Manolaya, the Ek Agra, that Manolaya is achieved by pointing on one object. Naturally, the vasanas also come down. So when you are doing Ekagra Chitta Abhyasa, suppose when we are studying in our college days or engineering or medical days, we used to study so hard that, chai laake rakhiye pata nahi hai. माँ बाप भाई बहन कोई याद नहीं आता है. Girlfriend is not remember. Why? पढ़ रहा हूँ. Ekagrata reduces vasana. So Manolaya and Vasanakshaya, they go hand in hand. But some of the Vidvat sannyasi, one who has become Vidvana, one who has known, one who has realized through Shravanam, Mananam and Vidhyasanam, all he does after that is nothing else but the Manolaya and Vasanakshaya. Moment he achieves that, he becomes Mukta. But in case of Vividisha sannyasi, what is Vividisha? Vividisha is one who is searching for the redemption, sadhaka, one who is searching for the mumukshutva. Such a Vividisha sannyasi has obtained the Manolaya as well as Vasanakshaya. Now he is aiming for Atma Jnana. The two, Vidvat and Vividisha sannyasa, they are opposite to each other in a different sense. A Vividisha sannyasi is having Manolaya and Vasanakshaya to a great extent. Now he is basically sitting at one place and concentrating to do what? To realize Atma Tattvam. We can say Gurudeva was a Vividisha sannyasi. Why? Because he had already attained the Manolaya and Vasanakshaya. He went for Atma Tattvam and sat for it, struggled for it, did sadhana for it, and achieved a state of Atma Jnana. And by having all the three, he became Jivan Mukta. Now, Vividisha sannyasi, there are four different types of sannyasis. One is called as Kuchitaka. Then there is also Hamsa, Paramhamsa. We will not get into the details of it. But the main points to know is that unless we have Manolaya, Vasanakshaya and Atma Jnana all going together, now which one comes first, which one comes later, that is not how it goes. It goes on a continuous progress. You are on a higher progress, there will be less mind involvement, less vasanas, and more closer to the Atma Tattvam. A stage comes when Atma Darshanam happens, then you don't have to try for Vasanakshaya or Manolaya because it happens once for all. So Jivan Mukta will not slip again. The Yoga Bhrashta referred to in Gita is prior to this stage. So after Upalabdhata of Atma Tattvam, there is no chance of slippage because he is Param Gataha. He has gone beyond Param Gataha. He becomes Parangata. He is Param Gataha. He is gone forever. So that is how the Videha Mukti and Jivan Mukti has been discussed in this particular mantra, a very important mantra. In the commentary of this mantra, Shankaracharya refers to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Why he refers to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad? Because we saw that desire is sitting there in the buddhi. And buddhi means which one? Buddhi is nothing else but we are talking about which kosha? Vijnanamaya kosha. So, as Shivananda Maharaj says, you have to take your position on Vijnanamaya kosha and do what? Fire from Vijnanamaya kosha on Karana Sharira. That is called a Shama. That means from Buddhi Tattva, you fire towards Avidya. So that is the word used by Shivananda Maharaj. So here the question is, whether the vasanas are happening in Buddhi or vasanas are happening in Atma Tattvam. According to Vedanta, Atma is nirvikara. If there is no vikara, how can it have vasana? But why this is specifically mentioned here, asya rudishrita, is because Acharya specifically wants to point out, without naming whom, the Nyaya and the Vaisheshika darshan. The logicians and the Vaisheshika, these two darshanas, they feel that a vasana or desire is a quality of Atma. That is where the Vedanta differs from them. But Sankhya, Yoga and Vedanta, they believe that no, it is the quality of a buddhi, because Atma is nirvikara. So that is why Rudishrita. And to supplement his arguments, in the commentary, Shankaracharya says, Kamaha, Sankalpaha, Vichikitsa, Shraddha, Ashraddha, Dhruti, Adhruti, Dhihi, Bhihi, Ityetam Sarvam Manaha. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, mind has been defined as what? Mind is that which is Sankalpaha, Vichikitsa. Vichikitsa means when you're in dilemma, you want to investigate. So Sankalpa is you initiate something in your mind. Sankalpa, Samyaka Kalpayati iti Sankalpa. You find out as per your buddhi what needs to be done. Something comes in your mind, arousal of the feeling that I must do something. The first thought is Sankalpa. Vichikitsa, Shraddha. Shraddha is also mind, because Shraddha is in mind. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, but that is in mind. Ashraddha, because if you don't believe, that also is a quality of mind. Dhruti, adhruti. Dhruti is formless and formed one. Re, modesty. Bhi, fear. Dhi, buddhi. All these are qualities of nothing else but mind. And since these are qualities of mind, Shankaracharya is substantiating this, saying that these vasanas, which are to be dissolved in order to have Atma Darshanam, are stationed in Dhi or Rudhi. This is for us to understand. Then he says, Jivan Mukta. About Jivan Mukta he's saying. About Jivan Mukta, what he says? He says, Atra iha eva. Atra, that is the word used in the mantra. Atra means right here and here only. How Shankaracharya says about it? He says, Gamana prayojakasya mrityor vinashat gamana anupapattehe. Gamana, the Shabda word used here is Shabda is Gamana prayojaka. Gamana prayojaka means one who goes and comes and goes and comes. How does he go? From birth to birth, how does he go? Through the Linga Sharira. We all know that Sukshma Sharira is also called Linga Sharira. All the impressions bundled together nicely into a small packet is what we carry from one birth to another birth. What do we carry? Nothing else, because this is all Panchamahabhuta. That is given back to Panchamahabhuta. Why? You can take it back from them. Now, question is, why do you give this? Why don't you continue with this Panchamahabhuta? Sir, your vasanas which you are going to experience now in this birth, they require a particular type of body. For example, you want to be a fiancé. You can't have a male body. You want to be a lover. You want to have a male body. You want to really kill everyone. That's what vasana you had. You need to use Shvapada, like a tiger or something. The body will be different. I can't use the same Panchamahabhuta or some same Panchikarana that has happened in my Panchamahabhuta. So what all the Lord says is, please come and give me your tunics. Give me your body back to me. That body is kept back into the store. And where are you going now? Sir, now he has gone to Tiriyak Yoni. Tiriyak means whose spine is perpendicular to the ground. That means animal. He has become animal. What animal? Sir, he has become hyena. Okay, give him the Panchamahabhuta accordingly. Now, in that Haina, how will he behave? That will be nothing else but the expressions that we collected last time and brought it here, of which some vasanas will be expressed now through Haina. So that is how those who want to have, let us say, remnants from everybody, whatever, if I could get without doing any effort, if I can get everything from everybody, he will become a jackal. Why? Because jackal never directly does the hunting. All that the others have hunted, he goes and tries to eat it there. This is a tendency, vasana. Who is doing it is immaterial. A man may do it, an animal may do it, but vasana is same. So that is why when you have vasana towards something, naturally that vasana will be coming forward with you. बोया पेड़ बबूल का आम कहाँ से हो? You have sown the seed of babul. Now aam cannot come. That is why these vasanas which are sitting in this buddhi guha, if once for all are to be removed, then the only way is to remove the avidya from the karana sharira. Once the avidya goes, then what happens? The manonash is there. That means there will be no desire. And once that particular kosh, the last kosh, the anandamaya kosh, the karana deha, where this seed of vasana is there is gone, then what happens? Nothing happens. You are mumukshu. You are not mumukshu. You are moksha prapti has happened to you. कबीर महाराज ब्यूटीफुली सेज, भला हुआ मेरी गगरी फूटी, मैं पनिया भरन से छूटी. मेरी गगरी फूटी, my कारण देह is gone. मैं पनिया भरन, now I am not going to come back again and go. Paniya varan, every time go to the well, get the water, come back. Every time get born, again do something, again go back to the well. That will not happen to me. That is what Kabir Maharaj says. And that is why the Gamana Prayojakasya Mrityor Vinashat Gamana Anupapattehe Atra Ihaiva Eva Atra Iha Eva Pradipa Nirvanavat Sarva Bandhanam Upashamat Brahma Sam Ashmute. How does that Brahma Tattva gets realized? Pradeep Nirvanavat. See, normally Nirvana means, we always feel Nirvana means gone. That's normal concept for us is Nirvana is gone. No, it is not Nirvana. Nirvana Shabda has come in Sanskrit by sandhi of two words, Nis and Vana. Nis means to blow. Vana word has come from Vata. Van word has come from Vat. And Van means a whiff. We say that is called a blowing of air, whiff of air. So Nisvana means to blow a whiff of air. Pradeepa Nirvana, that means a flame which does not move even after a whiff of or blow of air. That is how the person who has realized Atma Tattvam becomes Pradeepa Nirvanavat. That means he is not affected by anything that is happening in the world. Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna. He has become Prajnavan about the Sthiti. So he has reached the Sthiti, the way he is supposed to be, realization of the self. Now once we know that, then we come to the next mantra, which is the 15th mantra, and also a very critical mantra. This is important mantra because now what has happened is we are coming to the last three mantras of the Upanishad, Kathopnishad. One very important thing that we need to know is that all that we are discussing about mind, about Buddhi Granthi or whatever, or Buddhi means mind, etc., these are all abstract ideas for us. We can't actually catch hold of something and bring it in our hand and say that this is mind. Why? Because we are used to the objects. But at the same time, mana is a jada. It is not Chaitanya, it is jada. Buddhi, jada. If it is a jada tattva, that means every jada tattva, if it has to change, if it has to have some vikara or avikara or coming back from vikari to avikari sthiti, some changes must be happening. However subtle they may be, but they must be happening in the body. A very important concept we are now looking towards. When Atma Tattvam or when Brahma Darshanam is happening, the person is sitting upright, he is meditating with intense heat of white meditation, as Gurudeva calls it. In that process, He realizes Brahman. But when this realization happens to him at that point of time, is there any change happening within the body which is not perceptible to the modern science or ourselves? And the answer to this is yes. Now, this change, which has been described by those who realize the Atma Tattvam, has been elaborately described. In fact, one of the yoga is dedicated to such changes, and by bringing such changes also, you can become Atma Tattva Grahi. Why this is important is, one is you see how milk becomes curd, or when you know the curd itself, you can use curd for the milk to become curd. That means you can approach the things both ways. Bring the changes in you, which will make you help understand the Atma Tattvam by bringing the changes that are required, or struggle for Atma Tattvam and the changes will happen within the body. Now, either way, when we look at it in Raja Yoga, the ekagrata that we do, it ultimately leads to some changes, and those changes which are recorded, the changes which are experienced by the yogis, are described in the Kundalini Shastra. Now, we know all, by now we have heard about Ida, Pingala and Sushumna as the nadis, three nadis. Now, can you, being a doctor and a surgeon, I have worked on the spine, I have seen at least dissection of spine, etc. I have seen chorda equina, the end of the spine, the spinal cord. I did not see any Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, because it is not a nadi the way we think of a nadi as a cord, but its existence in terms of the nadi has been experienced by the yogis. Now, if that is so, then during the process of concentration and the meditation and the sadhana chatushta and the sadhana, etc., we do some changes that are happening in the body. This body just manifesting the changes. The changes are happening somewhere else, which are manifesting in the body. To give you an example, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a normal or ordinary Brahmin priest. But after realizing the Atma Tattvam, his body glow was so beautiful that people used to climb on the trees and the women used to come out of the house to just see him, because seeing him was a pleasure. Also, if you read the biographies of all the disciples of Vivekananda and their first encounter with Vivekananda, whether it is Virjananda or any of his disciples, you will realize that all of them have said that I saw golden lustrous hue on the body of Swami Vivekananda. Now, why the changes are, the body is reflecting the changes. The changes are happening into Shad Chakras. These Shad Chakras, we all know, are the part of Kundalini Shastra. They are also part of Raja Yoga. They are also used in this particular mantra, because now we are into the last three mantras. After Atma Darshanam, what happens is what Kathopnishad is going to describe. We all know that these chakras, starting from Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahat, Vishuddha, and Ajna Chakra. And the last chakra, the Saptama Chakra, is not called a chakra, but it is sometimes referred to a chakra, is Sahasrara Chakra. And the Kundalini, the primordial energy, is supposed to rise from the lowermost to the uppermost. Now, this rising of Kundalini does happen during the process of this particular sadhana. So, where there is this Yada Sarve Pramuchante Kama, the one who is doing this is also experiencing this. And those changes are described now by Kathopnishad in the 15th mantra, where it says, Yada Sarve Pravidyante Hradayasya Iha Granthayah. Yada, when Sarve Pravidyante, that means all the knots, Granthaya, Hridayasya Iha Granthaya, that means when all the knots of the Hridaya, that means buddhi, are removed, Pravidyante, Chedana, Vedana. Vedana is when they are completely torn apart, they are pierced. When all the granthis are pierced, Then what happens? Atha martyo amruto bhavanti. Then martyo, mortal, becomes immortal. Etavat hi anushasanam. Last part of this mantra is very important. Etavat hi anushasanam. Etavat means this is the only message of Anushasana is message or the order. This is the only order or the message of Vedas or Upanishads. Now the question is, Yada sarve pravidyante, when all the knots are clear, the question is, which are these knots? Now these knots we have heard many times, we have just had references in Bhagavata also, and of course in Bhagavad Gita also, and we have in Mundaka Upanishad, we have this particular thing. We have this vidyate hridaya granthi, chidyante sarva samshaya, chiyante chasya karmani, tasmin drushti paravare. Mundaka Upanishad says that. In Lalita Satram also it is referred, and all this has been, there is an Acharya's commentary on this, but a better commentaries also can be seen by Akhandananda. He says these three granthis are nothing else but the granthis of the knots or the crooked way. Knots, granthi means knot. Knot means crooked way. Kautilya. Kautilya is crooked. Kautilya was crooked. Crooked means he was tera. Kautilya means crooked means granthi. Now three granthis, there are three knots. There are many versions of these knots everywhere, but most accepted version of these knots are three granthis given by Acharya himself. In fact, Acharya in all his commentaries of all the Upanishads as well as Bhagavad Gita, time and again he refers to this. He says, avidya kama karma iti trigrantihi. Avidya kama karma. There is avidya, kama is desire, and karma action. So avidya, nescience, kama desire, karma action. So nescience, desire, action, avidya, kama, karma. These are the three granthis. We are going to see a little bit about these granthis also. Now in these granthis, most important part is in the Shad Chakra reference, in the Sandarbha of Shad Chakra, these three granthis are defined by, in the Lalita Sahasranam, by three different ways. One is called as Brahma Granthi, another is called as Vishnu Granthi, and third is called as Shiva Granthi. Now let us see what these three granthis are. The Brahma Granthi is a knot which is there at the Mooladhara Chakra. So something at Mooladhara Chakra and below the Swadhisthana Chakra is what is called as Brahma Granthi. Now this is the knot which is responsible for all our functioning, all our desires emanate from Mooladhara Chakra, all our worldly existence is from this place. So we derive all the pleasures, everything, including the sexual desires and the pleasures are all coming from this level which is called as Brahma Granthi. In case the person has become a sadhaka, the first Granthi Vedana that he will do is this particular Granthi. And then what will happen because of that? All the functions that are happening at this Granthi, because Granthi is no more there, will be gone. That means such a person will be in the world, but will not be involved into the world the way the normal person is. Not normal, abnormal person is. Because now he will be having less desires. He shall not be wanting and wishing too many things. He shall not be getting attracted or distracted by too many things around the world. So that will be Brahma Grantha Vibhedana. So that is why in the Lalita Sahasranam it says Brahma Grantha Vibhedini. That is how the Adimaya has been described. So this is the first thing that you try to do Vedana. Now, once that Vedana happens, then you again continue with your sadhana, then add the Vishnu Granthi. Now, Vishnu Granthi is a Granthi where all the Sattva-guna qualities, because with the rise of Sattva-guna only the Kundalini starts moving up. In fact, everything is interrelated. The desires go down, the mind starts less tossing, mind gets more concentrated, and at the same time the Sattva-guna upsurge is there. With the reason from the Granthi, which is Brahma Granthi, you go up towards the Vishnu Granthi. Vishnu Granthi, according to some, is at Manipur Chakra level, or according to some, it is at Anahata Chakra level. So between Manipur and Anahat, somewhere it is there. Now this Granthi is the Granthi which is of a Sattvic Purusha, but it is for what? In this Granthi, prior to this Granthi Vedana, all the compassions about the world, all the emotional component about the world, even in a positive manner, is also detrimental for the sadhaka in the later stage. Why? Because na me dharmi na adharmi, na kahu ke sangi re. Kabir Maharaj says, dharmi bhi nahi hu, sarva dharman parityajya. Dharma, every quality, because why? Qualitative aspect is saguna. And we are reaching towards nirguna. That means all the positive qualitative aspect is also torn asunder at this level, which is the Vishnu Granthi. Now at Vishnu Granthi, the Vaibhava, the worldly, whatever worldly positive things that we can have are also given up here. And that is where, once this is given up, then what happens? There is less of Jiva Srushti in that particular person, and a Shiva Srushti start coming into him. And Shiva Srushti or Ishvara Srushti means powers of Ishvara. So one who does Vishnu Granthi Vedana and moves up, now he encounters the final battle with something which is so difficult to avoid. We cannot imagine it because we have not reached anywhere. But those who are in this path, they say that anything in the world can be said no to, but when it comes to the siddhis, Ashtadha Siddhi, that means all the powers of Parameshwara are now available to you on the platter. This is the platter about which Ramakrishna asked Swami Vivekananda that, Narendra, I have given you all that I had with me to you. He asked very innocently, what is it, Gurudeva? He said, all the siddhis are given to you. He asked again an innocent question, what am I going to do with these siddhis? Are they going to help me in moksha? Are they going to help me in Brahma Darshanam? And Ramakrishna said, no, siddhis cannot help you. Then he said, keep it with you. This is what is courage. The sadhaka, which is as bold as lion, they say. That is why Kesari is Brahma Kesari that they call, because after Vishnu Granthi Vedana, for the Shiva Granthi Vedana, once you are able to shun all the possible siddhis which come when the Kundalini rises above Anahata Chakra, by the time you reach Ajna Chakra, that is where the Shiva or the Rudra Granthi is there. Once the Rudra Granthi Vedana, Ajna Chakra Vedana is done, then what happens? The Kundalini straight away goes up to Sahasrara Chakra, and then it escapes through the top of the talu and the head, and it escapes into, that is the ultimate nirvana or the mumukshatva or the kevalya jnana. This is just a procedure which has been described in Kundalini Shastra in very short. We have not seen anything in detail about it. But why this background is required? Because yada sarve prabhidyante hridayasya iha kurantaya atamartyo amruto bhavanti etavathi anushasanam. This word etavathi anushasanam is very important because this is the only order of Vedas. Shruti is telling us there is no other way you can have mokshata, moksha pada prapti, unless you vidyante rudgranti. Which three granthis? Avidya, kama, karma. Avidya, kama, karma. Now, I want you to take towards Gurudeva's commentary on this particular mantra. It is not only very inquisitive, very deep, at the same time very enjoyable, which is of course the style of Gurudeva. Gurudeva says that this is a philosophical concept entertained by Vedantins. Which philosophical concept? Hridaya Granthi. According to them, avidya, meaning the self-forgetfulness of a man of his own true eternal nature, is the cause of all these continued delusions and superimpositions. In the darkness, we misunderstand a piece of rope to be snake. The serpent here is risen from our not understanding the true nature of the rope, and now once having seen the serpent, we continue superimposing upon it a length, a height, a girth, a wood, and such other attributes of non-existent serpent. Similarly, this is important now, similarly, man not recognizing his real nature because of avidya, gets agitated with kama, desire, and these very desires in their attempts to fulfill themselves among the world of sense objects become the karma. Now, Gurudev has given the connection between avidya, kama, and karma. Again, I am repeating the statement. Man, not recognizing his real nature, avidya, gets agitated with kama, desire, and these very desires in their attempts to fulfill themselves among the world of sense objects become karma, the action. Now the Gurudeva's $1 million statement is coming. See how he is written. Thus, avidya in the spiritual plane is itself the desire in the mental plane, which again are themselves modified into action in the outer world of objects. It is the same thing operating in three different planes. See Gurudeva's height of imagination. 3 planes of action. In the spiritual plane, it is called avidya. In the mental plane, it is called desire. And in the action plane, it is called action. So there is virtually no difference. The fact is, if desire has come on the screen, avidya has come onto the screen, the desire is bound to effect. The desire cannot just come and abort itself. It will propel you to act. And that is where some of the saintly people advise us that you can cut this connection sometimes in between also. For example, because of avidya, desire comes into the mind. आ गई desire. For example, desire आती है कि जाके बॉस को एक थप्पड़ मार के आ जाए. मारते नहीं क्यों? जॉब चली जाएगी. डर है, भीति है. Right? Now the question is, there are many desires which are voluntary in nature, where you can control it. Let's say, for example, शुक्रवार है, बाहर खाना लेने के लिए चलते हैं. Second mind says, शुक्रवार है, let us study something, some scriptures. Now, between the two, what you will choose? Desire has already come. अब तो desire को कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Desire has already emanated. उस surface पे आ गई. It is already on the screen. The only way now to act is नित्यानित्य वस्तु विवेक. अद्यो नित्यानित्य वस्तु विवेक परिगण्यते. First line of Vivek Chudamani. Now we have to understand between the two, what should I do? And then take an action. This is a positive action, that I will sit in the house and read the scriptures. There is also a negative part of action. For example, I feel like going out and spending the evening in the disco. Now, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivek, if it comes to the mind, no. I have decided henceforth, no disco, so I will not be going. What happened? Did you quell the desire? You did not quell the desire. But you did not act upon the desire. So you cut the relationship between desire and action. Ichha and karma. You cut the cord between the two. Then there is no problem. Ichha hui, karma nahi hua. Isn't it? So that is why Kabir Maharaj says, Man jata hai to jane de, tan mat jane de. So first thing is, your actions you can control. Desires, aage ki baat hai. At the same time, Swami Shivananda warns us about something. What he says is, look, if you try to obliterate your actions to control the desires, it is a good thing. But it is not a permanent thing. He calls it, he's a doctor. Swami Shivananda was a doctor, a prolific doctor, knowledgeable doctor. So he called it, it is attenuated desire. Attenuated means temporarily controlled. That is what happened to Vishwamitra. No? Till the time Menaka came, everything was fine. सब चल रहा था. कहाँ एकाग्रता थी, ध्यान था. Everything was happening. Even when she came, he said, okay, what is there in a lady? Lady and man, आदमी में क्या है? नर नारी में एक विराजे, दो दुनिया में दिखे. That is how he looked at it. She started working in that hut. उनका पानी भरने लगी, उनका खाना बनाने लगी. तभी भी कोई problem नहीं था. One evening it rained. Menaka was wet with the water, and rest is history. Why? Because there was no Shama. Dhamma was there, Shama, at the buddhi guha level. At the buddhi guha level, that means at the vijnanamaya kosha. That is where, who has said us, Shivananda Maharaj said, fire your salvo from vijnanamaya kosha. Vishwamitra could not fire that salvo, and then all that was supposed to happen happened. And that is why it is in case of vasanas, avidya, kama, karma, this relationship needs to be understood. Karma, that is why Can you directly go and literally explicate the avidya and throw it away and say, oh, all the job is done? It is most difficult. It is not possible. It is almost impossible. Why? It is like saying that, the tree is creating a trouble. Let me just pluck the tree. It's a very big thing to happen, because with your two hands, you cannot pluck the tree. Then let me do one thing. Let me cut the branches one by one, so that it will become small, and then the trunk will become desiccated. And then it will be easy for me. This is precisely how we act on the avidya kama karma. The most magnified and amplified form of avidya is karma. So that is why the entire emphasis on Bhagavad Gita is on karma yoga. Because without karma, you cannot stay. Why without karma you cannot stay? Because there will be always desire. Because without desire, you cannot stay. And because without desire, why you cannot stay without desire? Because there is avidya. So you reduce, or you control, or you refine, or do karmas, whereby slowly the karmas get extinguished. And that is why Bhagavad Gita goes a step forward and starts acting from the top of the tree, from the branch, from the karma. Then it talks about the karma phalam, so that one by one the leaves of the branch, they start drying up. Why? Don't think about karma. When you don't think about the karma, the branches slowly starts becoming smaller and smaller. They shrivel. They become desiccated. Why? There is no phalam required. With the result, once the karmas are under karma yoga, so from karma yoga one can come back. Simultaneously, once this happens, once the karmas are getting controlled properly, by having sattva karmas more, rajoguni karmas less, and tamasic karmas almost non-existing, then what happens? Simultaneously, the person's mind gets purified, buddhi gets purified, and then such a buddhi is more competent to handle the vasanas. Now the buddhi will time and again come and tell you, this is anitya, this is anatma. That means nitya anitya vastu vivek is happening on day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis. Moment-to-moment basis is more important. That is why Kabir Maharaj says, चढ़ते उतरते दम की खबर ले फिर नहीं आना पड़ता. दम की खबर मतलब with every breath think through vijnanamaya kosha buddhi, that is it nitya or anitya. If the desire is anitya, shun it. Then what happens? With the practice, with the practice, slowly it will get distinguished. Once it gets distinguished, in that case, karmas are getting refined and purified. Buddhi is getting purified, so no new desires are coming. Older desires are slowly getting painted. The record, the gramophone record, ab bajne ke layak nahi. Why? The grooves are getting completely filled up. There are no grooves of vasana left. Once this is done, once these two things are done, then what happens? Avidya can only express through desire and action. When desire and action is not there, what will happen to avidya? When there is no branch, no trunk, no stem, no body to the tree, what will happen to the roots? They will dry up and go. So that is how you can reach towards the avidya from the top by refining the karmas, then refining the buddhi, and then drying up the avidya and then explicating it from there. This moment of explication is Brahma Darshanam. Iti eva the asti iti upalabdhavya. That happens then. When avidya goes, then Brahma Tattvam comes. One goes and one comes. While the one is going, the last moment of one's departure, avidya is taking the last trance and it's going to just sublimate. That is the time he immediately something else is coming in. That is called asti. Asti iti upalabdhavyam. And then, because avidya is gone, his identity is now one with the Atma Tattvam. That is Tattva Bhavena Prasidati. Tattva Bhava Prasidati is manifest. Now Prasad. Prasad is manifestation. Now the Atma Tattvam has manifested in the sadhaka. That is how the procedure goes. And that is why Gurudeva says the bond of avidya, kama and karma are together called knots of the heart in the philosophy of Vedanta. These are called as three. And that is why, in order to have these three granthis, Vedana, Kaya, Vacha, and Mana, these three are to be controlled. That is why a sannyasi carries a staff with him, which is called Tridanda. There are three sticks interwoven with each other. That is called Tridandi sannyasi. Tridandi sannyasi is the one who has taken a vow to control body, mind, and action. Kaya, Vacha, and Mana. To achieve what? To achieve the victory over avidya, kama, and karma. When a human being during his lifetimes breaks asunder these bonds, he in fact ends his ignorance. Ignorance can be ended only with knowledge. Gurudev says, thus the knots of the heart break down at the dawn of the knowledge. Liberation comes with the knowledge. And then he has used a Sanskrit phrase, Jnanena evatu kaivalyam. Only with the help of knowledge, Jnana, kaivalyam is possible. And that is the process. That is why, for the purpose of emphasis, Shruti again reasserts the view of Jivan Mukti advocated by Sri Shankaracharya and his followers. If you look at the commentary on this mantra by Acharya, something that we need to know, or something that we need to really look towards, is he says, Nirasta Ashesha Vishesha Vyapi Brahmatma Pratipatya Prabhinna Samasta Vidyadi Granthir Jivata Eva Brahma Bhutasya Vidusho Nagatir Vidyate Ittam Yukta Atra Brahma Samashmate Ityutvat. What he means is, he's given this in Avtarika. What he says is, Nirasta Ashesha Vishesha Vyapi. Nirasta. Nirasta means discarded. Everything in this world is discarded. Ashesha, nothing remains. But what remains is Vishesha Vyapi. Vishesha Vyapi means that which is Vibhur Vyapta, everywhere. My presence today is 100% restricted to my body, because that's what my mind believes. I cannot say that, oh, this table is me. No, I cannot. Why? The table is different, because that is insentient, something which I bought in the market. I am Dr. Jadhav. I am having a complete conviction about limitation of myself. And my limitation, I considered it to be the fact of the life, which actually is not. The one who has realized the Brahman, what happens with him, he understands Vishesha Vyapyata. I am everywhere. Sarvatram ekatvam anupashyate, Ishavasya Upanishad. Then, in such case, what happens is, avidya granthir jivata eva brahma bhutasya vidosho nagatir vidyate. The one who has such knowledge or such upalabdhi of Brahma Tattvam has no gati. That means, दोबारा आना नहीं पड़ता. चलते चढ़ते उतरते दम की खबर ले, फिर नहीं आना पड़ता. भला हुआ मेरी गगरी फूटी, मैं पनिया भरन से छूटी. There is no samsarati, samsara anymore. And that is why I must mention one of the beautiful statements by Gurudeva here about the birth and the death. Yes, he's given some beautiful comment. I hope I can get that. Yes. Every action has its reaction, and thus, in order to rid the reactions, the ego center escapes from the present forms through the back doors of death, only to re-enter in newer form through the front gates of birth. See Gurudeva's words. Every action has its reaction, and thus, in order to rid the reactions, that means karma phala bhoga. For the karma phala bhoga, the ego center, the ahankara, escapes from the present form through the back doors of death, only to re-enter in the newer form through the front gates of death. This is what happens. And that is why one more important aspect in the commentary of Shankaracharya is, he says, the mortal becomes immortal. Atha martyaha amruto bhavati. That's what the Shruti says. Where I said the word atra is important, because it says here, etavat, here. And this is the only instruction to emphasize upon this. In Sanskrit, Acharya has used as many as 3 words. Etavad hi, etavat eva, etavan matram. Na adhikam asti. What he means that there is no way Etavat, this is the only way. Etavat eva, this is the only and the only way. Etavan matram, there is no other but this way. 3 times he has emphasized. Chindate, vidyate, hridaya granthi. Unless these 3 granthis, 3 knots, avidya, kama, karma, are cut asunder, or these Gordon's knot as they call it. Unless this Gordon's knot is cut, there is no way a sadhaka can realize the Atma Tattvam. And that is why he has emphasized etavat is the only word used by the mantra. Acharya adds to that etavadhi, etavat eva, etavan matram. And that is how in the Avatarika as well as in the commentary, he is trying to emphasize upon the fact that the only way to realize the Atma Tattvam is going through these 3 things. Now the question comes, as we were trying to talk about Jivan Mukti Vivek, what happens to the person who realizes Atma Tattvam after he dies, Videha Mukta? Why this question is asked? What happens to his Linga Sharira? What happens to his Indriyas? What happens to his Vasanas? As it is, he has extinguished the Vasana. Jnana Agni Bhasmasat Kuruti. So Jnana Agni has already Bhasmasat, Vasana Agar Bhasmasat. But what happens to his, because he's anyway made up of a body, isn't it? His Pancha Mahabhutas are there. Where do they go? What happens to them? And that is why this is something which has been described or discussed also in Brahma Sutra. If you look at the Brahma Sutra, there is a 4th adhyaya, it is called Pratishedha Adhikaranam. In Pratishedha Adhikaranam, it talks about what happens to the pranas, because his body is dead, but pranas are there, no? Pranas, they move forward. We all know that. Where do the pranas go? The pranas, because Sukshma Sharira is inclusive of pranas, Linga Sharira inclusive of pranas. So in our case, the pranas and the Sukshma Sharira Vasana, everything goes to the new body. But what about Videha Mukta? Because he has no new body, he is not coming back into this world. Where does his prana go? And that is discussed in the Brahma Sutra Pratishedha Adhikaranam. According to them, these pranas become one with what? Brahman. And this is described as na tasya prana utkramanti brahmeva san brahma apyeti. This is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brahmeva san brahma apyeti is a very beautiful statement. And it is also used in Sandhya Vandana. If anybody is doing Sandhya, you must have come across this Brahmeva san Brahma apyeti. Now, Brahmeva san Brahma apyeti means Brahma tha, Brahma ho gaya. He was Brahman and he became Brahman. Now, it appears a little contradictory, isn't it? He was Brahman and he became Brahman. Yes, he was Brahman, but did not know that he was Brahman. Now that he has become known that he is Brahman, he became Brahman. This is the meaning of Brahmeva san Brahma apyeti. In fact, Shankaracharya has given in Chandogya Upanishad one small drushtanta, and that drushtanta is useful here. It is called Vyadha Vardhita Rajakumara Drushtanta. Vyadha Vardhita Rajakumara Drushtanta. Vyadha means hunter. Vardhita means one who grows. Vardhan is to grow. That means one who tended out, took care of. Rajakumar. One Rajakumar prince who was with one Vyadha hunter. His story. That is what. And he's given that story in short in Chandogya Upanishad. What the story means is, once because the king was under attack, he had to run away with his family. He went to the forest. In the he lost his elder son, and still the king had to run away because the enemies were chasing him. And that boy who was lost, the prince who was lost, was ultimately picked up by a hunter. And he remained in the hunter's house for a long time. So when this happened, then after some time, when the king realized that perhaps he is there, so he went to call him back saying that you are the prince. So the boy said, no, I am with the hunter, I am hunter's son. But the king started telling him, no beta, you are the prince, you are a king, you are a would-be king, but you are not a Vyadhaputra. Now why this happened? Because under the influence of Vyadha the hunter, he started thinking that he is an hunter. But it is only when the king came, he came to know that he was the king or the prince. Similarly, Brahmeva san Brahma apyeti means we are Brahman, we do not know we are Brahman. Only when the Brahman dawns upon us through the sadhana, then we realize that, oh, I haven't become somebody. I was Brahman. I am Brahman. In fact, was and is has no reference or no locus standi in case of Brahma Darshan. Why? Because was and is indicates Kala. Now, Kala is under Brahman because time and space is transcended by Brahman. So that is why, in case of Brahman, you cannot even say that you were Brahman. This is only till the time you are in the Jiva Srushti or in Jiva Upadhi Kruta Sharira. At a Nirupadhika Avastha, you are neither in time nor in space. So, Brahma tha, Brahma hai, Brahma rahega is a word used in our language, our parlance. At the Brahmavit level, at Gurudeva's level, all he would say is Brahma. Was, is, and will be has absolutely no significance of any kind. And that is what this 15th mantra says. So these two mantras are basically trying to tell us about ways and means of reaching towards the Atma Tattvam. What happens when the Atma Darshanam, Tattva Jnanam, Tattvam Jnanam happens to us, what happens at that point of time, and then how a mortal becomes an immortal. Martyo, Amruto Bhavanti. And also one more important thing is two aspects. One, that can happen here and here itself. Tukaram Maharaj calls it Udhari ka dhanda nahi. Tukaram Maharaj says Rokda. Rokda means right here and here itself. So one is Atra, that is the word. Atra Brahma Samashnute. It manifests here only. And second important aspect is Etavati Anushasanam. There is no other way. In this world, you may have multiple religions. Anushasana order is only one of Veda. This is the only way to realize the Brahman. The other religions are saying the same thing, but maybe in a different words, different ways. But what it means is the same thing. That is why this is Etavati Anushasana. Hari Om. Vasishtha, any questions or queries if we have?
Hari Om, I think Dilip ji had a question.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. I thought you are going to fit, since it is an extended time, I thought you are going to complete this one, but I'm happy that we are fortunate to have one or two more sessions on this. I have a question, rather a doubt on this. What is the difference between Atmajnana and Atmanatvam? Because you have mentioned for becoming Jivan Mukta, you have to have Atmajnanam, and you have to have this Atmajnanam, Manomaya, and Vasanachaya. So I have a doubt on this is Atmajnanam and Atmanatvam.
Atmajnanam. Atmatattva and Atmajnanam, these are not two different things. When you have Atmajnanam, you have Atmatattvam also, and its darshan also, its experience also. Let us take an example. When you are in Samadhi, at that time, I'm talking of Asabranjnat Samadhi or Nirbija Samadhi. At that point of time, you are one with Parabrahman, isn't it? Now, after that, when the Samadhi is over, when you come back, is it not that again the desires lurking in the mind come out? It means that you had Atma Darshanam, but it is not sustained because the desires are still lurking in the mind. They may be positive desires, they may be sattvic desires, but the fact is a continued state of desirelessness is desired, if that word can be used. Continued state of desirelessness only indicates manonasha. Now the question is, there are many who can have by nididhya, sravanam, mananam, and nididhyasanam, the opportunity with God's and his Gurudeva's blessings to have a glimpse of Atma Darshanam through Samadhi Avastha. For example, when Narendra went to Ramakrishna Paramahansa and when he put his hand on his head, is it not at that point of time when he said everything is whirling around him, and after in the second encounter, he realized that extreme amount of peace he realized, and he said, I never want to come back. In fact, he went to Ramakrishna Paramahansa one or two more times saying that, give me Samadhi, I don't want to come down. Now that was the time when he wanted to experience it, but when this was happening, is it not that he was worried about the food at home? Is it not that he was worried about his family? Now how these two things can be reconciled? That means Atma Jnanam had happened, but it was not coupled with Manonash and Vasana Laya. So Atmajnani, such a person, that is why such a person becomes Vidvat Sannyasi. Vivekananda, Vidvat Sannyasi, then he went for the Manonash and Vasanakshay, for which he did the Parivrajaka Vrata and lot of meditation, etc. So this is one aspect. Second is, there are some who have done Manonasha and Vasanakshaya. Now, those who have done a Manonasha and Vasanakshaya, but have still not reached to the stage of Atma Darshanam. These are called Vividisha Sannyasi. A Vividisha Sannyasi is now required to do only one thing. Why? There is no desire left in him except Atmajnana Prakti, a small desire, a small sattvic desire. So such a person, such a Vividisha Sannyasi, then what he does, he has two choices. One is he sits at one place. It is called Kutichaka Sannyasi. Kutichaka means he's inside the kuti. He doesn't go anywhere. And another is called Ujjala. The Ujjala one is the one who keeps on moving all around. He doesn't sit at one place. He keeps on begging alms and going everywhere. But both of them are constantly striving to achieve Atma Darshanam on a sustained basis, which is easier for them because already Manonash and Vasanakshaya has been achieved to a great extent. So these are two differences of slight sort. If you want elaboration on this, I would advise you to read Jivan Mukti Vivek by Vidyaranya Swami. It gives a beautiful. I can perhaps send you a small link which gives abridged version of this grantha also, which is enough to understand the concept of Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukti. And in Jivan Mukta, one having Atmajnanam and striving for Manonashaya and Vasanakshaya, and one which has already achieved a great amount of Vasanakshaya and Manodaya, now striving for Atmajnanam. Both of them are ultimately aiming towards the same goal. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay. Thanks.
Hari Om, we can do closing prayers.
Hari Om. Purnat Purnam Mudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.